want to talk about how you protect your independence and what we're learning in terms of AI tactics from leading companies in terms of the kinds of things that they are doing. Because the natural trend for large vendors who have a lot of sway here is toward lock-in. We go to the next slide, Mike. Lock-in is this wonderful new term, the enshittification of platforms. This is by Corey Dockow, where he was talking about how TikTok, basically what they do is they do great new capabilities. They make it easy for people to join. Then they add other features and get more people to join. It's relatively free or low priced. And over time, they begin to add other kinds of capabilities to extract value, whether it's advertising or restrictions or higher prices. Then over time, people start getting less and less interested in it. They're chasing more and more, revenue. The quality of the platform goes down. The quality of the audience goes down. So you go from a fantastic new platform to the enshittification of things such as TikTok. So it's kind of a funny term, but the basic idea, that is typical monopolistic behavior. Over on the right-hand side, this is a cartoon from the late 1800s that talks up in the back there are the different trusts, the steel trust, the copper trust, the poultry trust. And down the bottom is a quote from the Sherman Antitrust Act. This is the younger brother of Tecumseh Sherman of Civil War fame. His brother, John Sherman, wrote the Antitrust Act. And he said, look, a combination in any form, trust or otherwise, or conspiracy and restraint of trade, commerce among the several states or with foreign nations, which they were very worried about at the time, is declared to be illegal. Okay, and that's the law now updated by the Clayton Act. And then if you see today, actually, Google was found to be a monopolist in search, and you can bet that companies will continue to do that. McKinsey actually started its strategy practice by looking at monopolists, because they said, boy, if you've got a strategy that's so good that the government has to break you up, that's a great strategy. And so they hired the economists who advised the people suing the government to then become strategy consultants. So McKinsey's trying to make you a monopolist in their strategy practice. Next. That's the worry when you talk about being reliant on some of the large model and large search companies that are now adding this capability to them. So in this market we have today, we have massive uncertainties. Is it going to be big models or small models? Right now, the big models continue to win, but small models are making progress. It's going to be specialized versus generalized models. Is it going to be open versus closed? Llama, the Llama 3.1, 405 billion parameters, just got dropped last week. That's quasi open source. Right, you don't have the data, you don't have the weights, but you do have the model itself. Pricing and competition, what's that going to look like? You have Grok coming in now, who is trying to think about training versus inference. As far as I can tell, and we haven't got good numbers on this, haven't been able to derive them or find them. The majority of the market's probably on inference, and whether it's 30-40% on training, 60% on inference. Grok now has a model where they're going to come in much cheaper. They've deployed 150,000 LPUs, language processing units, that use an older technology, much more energy efficient, much cheaper to build. They've already deployed that. By the end of 2025, they're going to have 1.5 million of these. It's got great performance with the LPUs. It looks like they're going to come in and try to really compete on the inference layer. You don't want to be locked in to one environment if you want to get access to that kind of inference. So what are the things you can do practically? What we're learning from the leading folks is that, first of all, understand GenAI is a capability, not a technology. We'll talk more about that in another time. It's more like the quality movement than it is like going to the cloud. The two things I want to focus on here is avoid vendor lock-in, and second, think about where you do it. There are two places we see leading companies doing it. One is understanding their security architecture, sometimes building it themselves, buying it from third parties, not just deriving it from the environment, whether it's the Gemini environment, the Apple environment, the Microsoft environment, or Bedrock. That because security layer a lot of times is where you get a lot of the lock-in. And the second thing is a job control framework. How can I make sure that I am addressing my problem, my task, whatever, to the right model to be the most efficient and the most responsive. And the best companies are pushing on those two levers to not be locked in either in the security layer or the job control layer, so they can get access to the best models at the best price. And so we think that's very important as you move from prototype to pilot to production to a portfolio production. That's what we're seeing early in the marketplace. So hold on to your control, don't give it up easily. And these are some of the control points.